Welcome to the Dental Marketing Guy show. Today is a very special episode. I have our guest of honor, Bob Sommers. He's also known as Maui Bob. Most people on Dental Town would know him as Maui Bob. And Maui Bob has some incredible value to offer the dental industry. Let me tell you, some of this stuff is totally new to me. I think it's going to be totally new to most of our viewers and listeners. And let's jump right into it. How are you, Maui Bob?
I'm doing great, Justin. Aloha, man.
Aloha. Excellent. Joining us from, I assume, Maui.
Right.
The background matches. I like it. Very good.
Good.
You know, what I was wondering was the title of this show is The 7 Psychological Triggers of Getting Google and Yelp Reviews Without Being
Right.
Pushy or Needy. I
Right.
think so many dentists have this block where it feels salesy
Yeah.
to come out and say, well, hey, if you've enjoyed your process or whatever, could you please give us a Google review? And it's really difficult to do that sort of thing. But what you've done is you've turned the 7 psychological triggers of earning reviews into a science. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Sure. Okay. So it really is a science, come to think of it. We've sent out on behalf of dentists probably about 1 million review requests, Justin. And over that time, we learned so much, what works, what doesn't work. And I'm also big time into psychology, about what are triggers, pro and con. So what I want to do is I want to demonstrate what we found to be the most effective way to ask for a Google review, to get both Google and Yelp reviews. Now, this is interesting because here's the rule of thumb. If you want Google reviews, ask for Google reviews. If you want Yelp reviews, ask for Google reviews. And the reason for that, and then I'm going to get into the psychology of this, is this. Yelp has a policy. It's actually a guideline that says, don't ask people to write a review on Yelp or we're going to filter it. And you're wondering, how do they know that? Well, they know because it's so easy to write a review on Yelp. And when they do, they can see that it's a new Yelper. So here's the thing we know about Yelpers. They're avid. They're just avid reviewers. And if you ask a Yelper to write a review on Google, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to tell you right away, I'm a Yelper, is it okay if I write a review there? And the answer, of course, is, yeah, that would be great. Or they're not going to tell you. So once they see the choices you provide, and I encourage you to send a text or an email with choices in it. Once they see Yelp there, and there's a huge warning we put next to Yelp, and I'd encourage you to do the same thing. It says, please only leave a review on Yelp if you're an active Yelper and you already have an account. Otherwise, Yelp is going to filter your review. So if you're not a Yelper, that will terrify you. You're like, oh no, I'm not going there, for goodness sakes. But if you are a Yelper, you're going to laugh in the face of danger. You're going to go right to Yelp and write a review. So I want to set this up by saying we're looking to get Google and Yelp reviews. If you want Google reviews, ask for a Google review. If you want a Yelp for review, ask for a Google review, and let the Yelper self-identify. So let's look at those 7 triggers. And it's a 2-part thing. So I want you to role play with me here, Justin, okay? And I'm going to ask you to write a review. Now, here's the question. Who should we ask and when should we ask? Well, you can ask anyone you want, but I want you to think about this. When you ask a patient to write a review, you get one crack at it. So you want to make sure that they're at the peak of their happiness. It's not the first time they've come and seen you. And you want to make sure they're happy with the quality of service you offer. So just role play with me and let's do part 1 and I'll show you the first 4 triggers. Are you ready?
Excellent. Yes.
Here we go. Hey, Justin, before you go, can I ask you a favor, please?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you. Later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you, would you mind taking just a couple of minutes to write a review for us on Google? And Justin, the reason I'm asking is when you write a review on Google, it helps other people learn about our practice through your experience. Would you do that for me, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you. Now, this is part 1 of how to ask for a review. And by the way, did anything I said or did, Justin, sound pushy or aggressive or manipulative, anything like that?
No, and it didn't appear needy either.
No, needy or pushy, right? So here's the thing. It's not needy because I provide great service, and as much as I'd love your review, I don't need it. I would like to have it, but I don't need it. And the last thing I want to do is come across as pushy. Now, I've seen other people say, I want you to write the review in the office. You can't leave until you do this. That is horrible. And by the way, after sending out 1 million review requests, we've learned a couple of things. And here they are. Half of your patients are absolutely delighted to write a review while they're sitting in your office. No problem. The other half, people like me, I'm not a very good speller. I don't want you hovering over me, nor do I even want to be in your office when I write a review. I find that pushy and aggressive and manipulative. So let's look at these 7 triggers. And so far, I think I've given you 4 of them. So here they are. Justin, may I ask you a favor? Now, there's a term called commitment consistency. When you say yes to something small, you're very likely to do something big. And not only that, but this is something people don't really understand. I've got a blog called Likeability Guide, and I'm fascinated with what makes people likable. And what you'll discover, one of the 12 laws of likability that I've kind of uncovered here is this, that we like the people we help. It's not that we like the people who help us. We like the people we help. So when someone goes out of their way to write a review for you on Google or Yelp, they actually like you more. They trust you more by the mere fact they have taken the effort to do you a favor. So the first trigger is this. It's called commitment consistency. May I ask you a favor? Yes. All right, now we're setting up part 2. The next thing I said, and this is important, later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you. Now let me stop right there. And Justin, did you notice when I said that? You immediately were like, he's not going to ask me to write the review while I'm sitting in the chair. Did you get that feeling? Okay. So later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you. Now, the reason I say whenever it's convenient for you is because half of your patients, guess what? It's convenient for them right now. And that's when they want to do it. And that's okay with me. So this is trigger number 2. Give your patients the opportunity to feel comfortable that they can write the review at their leisure. That is so important because if you don't do that, it's going to sound pushy. All right? Later today or tonight or whenever it's convenient for you, here's the next thing. Would you mind taking just a couple of minutes to write a review for us on Google? Now, you notice I didn't pause there. Would you mind taking just a couple of minutes to write a review for us on Google? And the reason I ask is this. When you do, it helps other people learn about our practice through your experience here. Would you do that for me? Now, what I want you to notice is I didn't say, hey, Justin, would you write me a 5-star review? Would you say something nice on the internet? I don't have to do that because the 5-star review system and all these other systems, they will all separate the people that want to give you a good review from those that don't. And by the way, it's a very honorable reason. The reason I'm asking is I want you to know your feedback is so important. I trust you. I want other people to learn about my practice through your experience. So that's the third of these 7 characteristics. Now, let's go on to part 2, and I'll give you the remaining 4. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So you've just said, yeah, Bob, I'm happy to write a review. Now, the next thing I'm going to say, believe it or not, is the most important 3 words you're going to use in the entire process. And it is a huge trigger. Here we go. Justin, before you go. All right, let me stop right there. Before you go. Now, I want you to notice when I said that, you're like, okay. Something is going to happen before I leave the office. And let's go through with the rest of it. Before you go, I'd like to ask one of the ladies up front if they'll send you an email or a text with a link in it to where you can write a review. And Justin, I want you to know I'm really looking forward to reading your comments. Now, let's stop and evaluate what we just did. Point number 4 is before you go. Now, this is what we've discovered, Justin. If that patient walks out of your office, I don't mean the back room, I mean they literally walk out into the hallway, and you send the review request to them, whether you're doing it on your own by email or texting, or in our case, you can do both. If they are out of that office, they are not going to write a review. They won't do it. So you absolutely have to, and I fully don't understand the reason for this, but you've got to send them the review request while they are watching you do it. Now, in about 20% of the cases, the dentists are sending it from the back room, and that's fine. In about 80% of the cases, they walk the patient up front and they say, Julie, Bob has offered to write a review. Will you please send him a review request? Now, this is actually the 4th of the 7 components. When you walk some up front, a patient up front, and Julie looks up and says, Bob, thank you so much for offering to write a review. It means the world to us. Here's the fourth trigger. Now you have at least 2 people that know you've offered to write a review. I don't want to let you and Julie down. Julie looks up and says, Bob, thank you so much for offering to write a review, etc. But once I say, before you go, you now know that I'm going to get this review to you, and you're going to discover, or you're going to quickly identify the fact that I now know you got the request. There are no excuses. I didn't get it. When did you send it? You're standing right there with me. I don't expect you to write the review, but I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to literally get it before you walk out of the office, because emails and texts, they come. Before you go, here's the next one, point number 6. I'd like to ask one of the ladies up front if they'll send you an email or a text with a link in it to where you can write a review. Now, notice I'm telling you exactly what you were wondering, and that is, Bob, what is it you want me to do? This is what I want you to do. Before you go, I'm going to send you an email or a text with a link in it to where you can leave a review. Now, if you're doing this on your own, you need to get something in their hands with a link, so it's really easy to get to where they need to go. Now, the 5-star review system, of course, you can send text or email or both. And with Google particularly, we have 5 different links, depending on what device your client clicks on, to ensure that they get to your Google page as quickly as possible. And the last thing I said, and Justin, we learned this, we were first, this was brought to our attention by a guy that rents used cars in Southwest Florida. And he called me, he was all excited. He said, Bob, you can't believe this. The number of people that are writing reviews has skyrocketed. And I said, Tom, what are you doing differently? He said, the only thing I'm doing differently after I asked him to write a review is this. And this is the 7th trigger. I'm really looking forward to reading your comments. And he said, boy, the moment I say that to him, there's like a little trigger that goes off in their head. And the trigger sounds like this. Uh-oh. They're looking for it. I don't want to let them down. I'm going to go ahead and write that review. So that's the way to ask for a review and how to send it. And those are the 7 triggers without being pushy and without being needy. And by the way, lastly, if you're asking people to write reviews and you feel like you're coming across as needy, you probably are. And if you feel like you're coming across as pushy, you probably are. You're not doing it right. Stop and reevaluate what you're doing. So there you have it.
Wow, that's, I couldn't agree more with the self-assessment. When you feel pushy, when you feel needy, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if we could record the dentists who feel needy and pushy and see how they're saying it,
yeah.
I'm sure they would agree with you that the reason why they feel that way is because it's real. And that's the
And by the way, just an interesting note, I can't tell you how many dentists have a high level of trepidation before they ask their first patient. And when they follow this guideline, a lot of them really study this. When they ask their first patient to write a review, the response is like this. Oh my gosh, I'd love to write a review. I love you guys. I love coming here. This is the best. And all of a sudden, the dentist and the hygienist, who, by the way, when they're the ones asking for the review in lieu of the assistant or the front office staff, they get 3 times the response, because we as patients, we want to reward the person that actually asks, that's providing the service. And the most amazing thing is, after they've done that, they're like, this was a very pleasant experience. I want to ask the next person. I want them to tell me how great I am. And you get into this self-fulfilling prophecy of asking. People love you. You want to ask again. But until you ask the first time, and you ask without being pushy and without being needy, and you realize your patient is doing you a favor and they want to do you a favor, you'll never understand what this experience is like. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's great, because you're talking about momentum. You're talking about, success breeds success.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what a lot of the dentists who are in our audience understand, is that once you get past that first hurdle, you can just keep going. Momentum. Yeah. Definitely.
And along those lines, I want to mention, when we sign people up for this system, or they purchase our system, we evaluate them. We don't sell it to everybody. If you don't have a good score on the internet, we don't let you use the service. We don't want to be marketing a dental practice that doesn't do a good job. But we also make sure that you're comfortable asking and sending a review request. And the most difficult thing I have is, even though we do this 15 minutes of training and really help people overcome the fear of asking. The people that ask right after the training, they do great. We have people that get 20, 25, 30 Google reviews in a couple of weeks because they start and they get caught up. Others never get started. They never ask the first patient. And that's so unfortunate because they have this amazing tool in their hands and they don't use it. So it's a matter of, look, if you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. But don't pussyfoot around it. Either do it and know it's going to be awesome, or let it go and, spend your time and energy somewhere else. And I mean that, because you don't want to be feeling bad about yourself because you can't get the courage to ask. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. My background's in SEO. I do SEO
Right.
for dentists. And so that's pretty much what I specialize in. And by pretty much, I mean absolutely.
Right.
And,
Right.
I find that there are, SEO is made up of about 200 different factors,
Right.
maybe more. And one of those factors is reviews. Have you been able to notice any kind of difference in the SEO of different dentists as they
Oh,
take on your program?
absolutely. I mean, oh my gosh, absolutely. I'm going to say something. I know you know this. Of those 200 factors, about 4 of them have to do with reviews. And those 4 factors that impact, we're talking about impacting ranking here, Justin, as you know. The 4 factors that impact your ranking so you can get in that 3-pack are going to be the number of reviews you have. So you want more than your competitors. Your average score. So if you can get a 5.0 and they have a 4.8, you want to have a higher score. The third one is velocity, which means, are you getting reviews at a consistent rate? You're not just surging and stopping. And are you getting reviews on sites other than Google? Google pays very close attention to that. Are you getting reviews on Yellow Pages and Yelp, which are the 2 biggies? And we have, for example, one of our clients is a dentist in Orlando. There's 700 dentists in Orlando. She's nowhere near the city center. But if you do a search for Dentist Orlando, she floats to the very top, 125 Google reviews, something or other, all about beautiful smiles. The last time I talked to her, she said, Bob, we get 10 calls a day because we're up high in the search engines, and 5 of those people turn into customers. Now, Justin, I just gave a cursory view of the reviews and ranking, but you know a lot more about this than I do. What are some of the factors you've seen with respect to SEO and reviews that move people up in that local search, please?
Yeah, SEO is essentially 2 major factors, and that is authority and relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can basically make you relevant, which has to do with the content on the website and the kind of links that you're getting and the kind
Right.
of reviews you're getting, which reviews are content. There's the old maxim, content is king, which I think is really oversimplifying, because I think a lot of dentists think of, oh, if I write, if I blog, that's content. The best kind of content that you can have is content written by other people about how great you are. You
Right.
never toot your own horn about how great you are. That's braggadocious. But what you can do is you can have other people brag about how great you are, to almost an absurd degree. Like they can put raving, glowing reviews, and as long as they're honest and believable and clear and memorable, they're gonna really strike at the heart of what SEO is, which is, who you take it from Google's perspective, who should I put up at the top? It's
Yeah.
not random, it's not
Right.
arbitrary, they don't rotate in a cycle. The best of the crop rises to the top. The
Right.
cream of the crop rises to the top. So what Google's looking for is, what is the cream of the crop? How can we measure who's the best? And reviews are a really good way for them to do that. So I agree. It's definitely it's one of those factors. And, it has a lot to do also with the click-through rate. So if you have 5 stars or even 4.9 and 4.8, you're going to get a lot better click-through rate than the person who has 2.5 stars. They may be
Absolutely.
ranked at the top, or a person with no reviews. They may be ranked at the top, but that's probably not going to last forever, because the dentist who's doing great work, the dentist who's putting out good content through his patient base,
Right.
that's what Google's looking for. And when I say Google, I mean all the search engines. As
Right.
you,
Well, like you say, reviews are way more important as a conversion factor as they are as a ranking factor. Certainly they help your ranking, but nothing is more powerful for conversion than having a perfect 5.0 star rating. And I'll tell you an anomaly I see. I find this amazing. People advertise on Yelp. They spend money on Yelp. And I'm neither here nor there. I'm actually a Yelp fan. I don't like the way they do business. But if you don't understand how Yelp works, you are missing out on huge opportunities. But this is what I don't get. People have a 3.5 star rating on Yelp. They don't really care about it, but they advertise on Yelp. What they're not thinking of is they're paying Yelp to tell the entire world that they have a 3.5 star rating. That's horrible. I wouldn't pay Yelp 1 penny until I had a 5.0 or a 4.9 star rating. And the only way Yelp isn't going to do that for you. You've got to get those reviews yourself. Now, if I had a 4.9 or 5.0 rating on Yelp, hey, then I would consider advertising and let Yelp tell the world about me. I would never do that if I had people that were higher rated than me. How stupid would that be? So
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's huge. And, a lot of dentists actually don't even know that they're on Yelp.
Right.
They say, well, I don't use Yelp. That's for restaurants. No, it's for dentists.
Do you mind if I talk about this for a minute? Because I think this is the biggest misunderstanding dentists have on Yelp. They're afraid of Yelp. And for 99% unfounded reasons. And when I'm on Dental Town, I read what other dentists are saying about how evil Yelp is. None of our customers are saying that because they're all benefiting from their awesome Yelp reviews. But here's what a lot of dentists don't get. They'll tell me, Bob, we don't have any Yelpers in our community. Let me just assume that's true, okay? Let's assume that's true. But did you know that Yahoo shows Yelp reviews? Bing shows Yelp reviews? Did you know that if you're on an Apple iPhone and you're using Siri and you're looking for the best dentist in your community, they share that by your Yelp reviews? Did you know that? Most dentists are like, I didn't know that. Well, you only need a handful of great Yelp reviews if nobody in your community is a Yelper, and you're going to be the highest rated person on iPhones, Yahoo, Bing, and even the person that uses Yelp, for goodness sakes. So, there is nothing to fear with Yelp. The only thing to fear with Yelp is if you have a bad rating because you've not paid attention to your Yelp listing, and Yelp's, strong-arming you into spending money with them. I don't know. Yelp is a fabulous marketing avenue if you understand how to do it. That's it. Take control, get good reviews, let everything else happen on its own, because it will. So.
Yeah, and I think there is, in defense of those dentists who are lamenting about Yelp, I think there are some valid concerns about. Yelp can destroy your dental practice. If you have a bad rating, if you're not getting those positive reviews put up, but the bottom line is that the responsibility falls on you, the dentist. It falls on your shoulders to do something about it.
Right.
And as long as that's the attitude, you're not going to have time to sit around and complain about Yelp's business model because you're too worried about your business model. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Kind of in that same vein, I was hoping you could give us two of the most common dangers or pitfalls that some dentists fall into when asking for reviews.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what the two are. The two biggest downsides. Why aren't dentists getting reviews on Google and Yelp? Number one, they're not asking. And along that line, they don't know how to ask. And number two, they're not making it super, super, super easy for their patients to get to where they need to go to write a review, whether it's on a phone or a desktop or a laptop. A lot of dentists are asking patients to write reviews, and that's it. So they're doing part one, but part two, they're expecting the patient to just on their own sit down. It ain't going to happen. Other people don't ask. They do a fabulous job, but they're handing out, they're not, what I'm saying is maybe these people aren't asking, but they're handing out a piece of paper showing people where to go. So they're making it a little easier. But if you don't ask someone to write a review, it isn't going to happen. So those are the two big pitfalls. They don't ask and they don't make it easy. It's that simple, really.
Yeah, that's part of what your system helps resolve.
Right. Well, what's interesting about this, Justin, is I'm really proud of our system. We have almost 1,000 dentists that use it. We have dentists that are getting, 10 Google reviews every week. They're just killing it. We have others that have over 600 Google reviews, over 100 Yelp reviews. It's not the system that makes it happen, because we have another dentist right across the street that's using exactly the same system. It's set up in exactly the same way. And because they're not asking and they're not sending properly, they're not going to get the same literally phenomenal results everybody else is. They're not going to do it. So as proud as I am of the system, I can honestly tell you that 95% of your ability to get a Google and Yelp review, and a referral, by the way, has absolutely nothing to do with the 5-star review system or any system you use. It has to do with you. Because here's what I know to be true. If your customers love you, they will jump through hoops to write wonderful reviews for you. If it's mediocre or fair, I don't care how easy you make it for them to write a review, they're not going to do it. So, the bottom line is, it is 100% in the dentist's lap and the hygienist's lap, really, quite frankly, those two. And if they're using a system to make sure it's sent to the patient, and now we're going to put a little responsibility on the assistant or the folks up front, but your ability to get reviews has to do with you. A system is just a tool. If you use it properly, you're going to get phenomenal results like everybody else does. But if you don't use it right, you're going to languish. You're going to wonder, why do I even have this thing? It's the ball's in your court. It really is.
I really like that sentiment because of the mood on Dental Town when talking about Yelp. I mean, I do want to say that Yelp has, as any business does, ways that they can improve. So I don't want to have any of our listeners who have had bad experiences with Yelp to feel like we're ostracizing them. I see very clearly that there are flaws in the business model, but I like the sentiment about taking personal responsibility. That's really what it's all about. And I like how you're not selling this system, even though it is very effective for many, many, many dentists who have used it. I know you've got a thread there on Dental Town. It's quite impressive.
Well, there's a lot of people saying a lot of nice things. That's true.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we have faith in that system, but I like how you're not trying to take credit for all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says a lot about you as a person, that you're not saying it's all me. It's all Maui Bob.
Right.
It's not the dentist. It's not the hygienist. It's all me. No, you're not saying that at all.
Oh, so you didn't see me 3 years ago when I was doing that. No, I don't do that. No, and it doesn't take long to figure out it's not us.
Yeah.
We just make the best tool we can to make it as easy as possible. But you know as well as I do, if you're not going to do a great job and you're not going to ask and you're not going to make it easy, nothing's going to happen. If you do a great job, amazing things happen. And it's not just reviews. Reviews is just, it's just a simple thing. The byproduct of the reviews is more business. And by the way, one of the neatest things of all, and I get this from a lot of dentists, they're like, Bob, we got tons of reviews. It's wonderful. But the neatest thing of all is now when people call us, they call and they say, I found you on Google. Are you still taking patients? Because they assume you're not, because your reputation is so awesome. And they're like, we love to hear that. Are you still taking patients? Maybe we are, maybe we're not. I don't know. So anyway, it is the dentist and the hygienist. And it's very clear. You don't have to do this very long to realize it doesn't matter what system you have. The system is just a tool. That's it.
So, you've worked with some real all-star dentists, a lot of them. Are there any dentists who might come across this program? I'm wondering, are there any dentists that you don't work with?
Oh, yeah, of course there are. If you have a 3.5-star rating or less on Google or Yelp, we're not a reputation enhancement business, so we don't sell our system. And that's our right, which is in our terms of service. We don't want to sell a system to somebody that has a bad reputation. Now, if you improve your reputation on the internet, however you want to do that, and then you want to invest in our system, we'll do that. There are very few exceptions to that rule. If you bought a business and it had a bad reputation and you're starting from scratch, then yeah. We don't work with people that are not willing to ask their patients to write a review and who are not willing to send a review request while they're with their patient. Now, I will tell you, about 90% of our customers, use Demand Force, Lighthouse, Yappy, Revenue Well, Smile Reminder, Sesame, one of those. But they've all said, Bob, look, we're not getting reviews where they matter. We need to compete where people are looking for a dentist on Google and Yelp. And when people use our system properly, I've never seen a tool that's better at getting those reviews there. Some people are so ingrained with not asking, because all of those services don't require that you ask, and not engaging with the patient to send a request, that their habit of not engaging with the patient is so strong, they cannot overcome the inertia of actually asking and sending. And if they go, well, Bob, I don't know if to actually engage with the patient to send it, I always tell them, don't buy our system. It's not going to work for you. And again, I know, I don't need to tell them this. It's not that it's our system that it's not going to work. I don't care whose system you have. It's not going to work if you're not going to ask and send. Now, are you getting hundreds of thousands of wonderful Demand Force, Lighthouse, Yappy, Smile Reminder, Revenue Well testimonials? Of course you are. People are happy to write testimonials based on an email. But if you actually go in and look, you're probably going to find that less than 10% of the people that you send those requests to by email actually respond, and none of them are on Google or Yelp. People that use our system properly, asking and sending, they have as many as 70 to 80% of their patients responding. And a huge percentage of those people are actually going to Google and Yelp and writing a review. So, you know, we don't work with people that aren't willing to do what they need to do. And quite frankly, Justin, I don't want to waste their time or their money. I really don't. You know, I would much rather work with the people that I know is going to have a good outcome. And, you know, in a matter of 4 minutes of interviewing these folks, I can tell if they're a good match immediately. And then it's up to them to look at the system and ask me all the questions they want and watch our video to see if our system is the best match for them. And most of the time it is.
So the ideal candidate for 5-star reviews system would definitely be someone who's willing to take personal responsibility to build their own reviews.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, the other thing is, you know, you have dentists that have no reviews, 5 reviews, 50 reviews, 100 reviews. The people that go gaga over our system are the ones that have 100 reviews already, because they look at our system and they say, where have you been? This is so easy to get these requests to these people. Text and email, you've got this awesome reminder that doubles the response rate and we don't have to worry about it. Where have you been? So they jump on our system and they massively accelerate the number of reviews they get. People that don't understand the review process, you know, people that aren't really all that good with their patients, no, our system's not a good match. They need to look at a different avenue for, you know, generating reviews and referrals, because ours isn't going to be a good match for those guys.
That's excellent. I have a client, actually. One of the reasons why I took on their case, even though it was kind of a tough set of keywords, a big metropolis area,
right,
for SEO, I actually we're knocking it out of the park. We're months ahead of schedule, but
wow.
enough bragging.
Yeah, right. That's
One
great.
of the things that attracted me to their practice was the fact that they had only been in business for a short while, but they had something like 70+ reviews.
That's great.
5-star reviews. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's just unheard of. You had these guys who have been around for 10 years and they only had like 14. So
Right.
I thought that was really impressive. So, I mean, for those dentists who are looking for the best service providers, the best specialists, that's one of the first things that I look at is
Everybody
this
does.
dentist good to work with? Because if he's not good to his patients, he's not going to be good to me.
Right. And, you know, I want to throw out something most people never think about. When a patient takes the time to write a review for you, number one, I always encourage you or someone at your office. And when I get resistance when I say this, it tells me something about that practice. I imagine that I wrote this really awesome 5-star review for you. Now, nobody expects to hear back when you write a review on Google. Nobody expects it. But I want you to imagine for just a minute, Justin, how I would feel if you called me and you said, hey, Bob, the reason I'm calling is I just saw your review on Google. I can't tell you how much that means to me and everyone here. Thank you. Do you know what that would do for me? That would tell me, wow, I wrote a review for the guy that appreciates it. In my head, psychologically, you've gone from here to here. I'm going to tell everybody I know about you. Now, when I recommend this to different dental offices before they buy the system and just kind of showing them how to do it, one in about every 8 or 10 offices, I hear resistance. They go, we don't have time to do that. We're never going to do that. And all of a sudden I go, you know what? This isn't a good system for you. You don't treat your customers in the manner you need to. You don't understand that this isn't just about getting reviews and SEO. It's about how you do business. And when I hear that, the last thing I say before I get off the phone in our demo with them is I go, you know, the system's not a good match for you. It's just not a good match. So let's just move on. I hope you learned some great things about getting reviews, but it's not a good match. And they're like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I don't need to go into detail, but I know in my heart, if you're not willing to thank someone for writing a review, you don't need to have access to a system that's all about interaction. The other thing that people don't realize is when someone writes a review, even if you don't respond to them, there's a whole nother level of commitment, consistency. I publicly said something nice about your practice. Because I did that, everything from this point forward that I say about you is at a different level. The mere fact patients say nice things about you takes that patient to an entirely different level. They're no longer a fan, they're a raving fan. And even if it did not help you with ranking and all of the other wonderful things that reviews did, just the mere fact it brings your patient from here to here with how they think about you, that in and of itself is a fabulous reason to ask people to write reviews for you.
I'm sure you have tons of great testimonials, great references, lots of dentists who you've helped grow their practice. Could you share with us just one case study that comes to mind as far as a real success?
Yeah, now I'll tell you this too. Most of our dentists don't want me telling other dentists about what they're doing. That's just because they don't want their competitors doing the same thing. But I'm happy to tell you about it. In the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 dentists email me, and this is very typical. Bob, I've gone from 6 to 28 Google reviews in less than 2 weeks. When I called that dentist, I said, how are you doing it? He said, we're following your training program word for word. We're asking, we're sending right away. We're just doing exactly what you said. I had one last week said, Bob, we've gotten 18 reviews in like 7 days. I asked them, what are you doing differently from the training? We're just doing exactly what you said. I also want you to know we've got dentists that have had the system for a month. They've got no reviews, nothing. They're not asking, they're not sending. There's tons outside. Here's an example. This is not a dental example. It's something called Total Access Urgent Care. They are and they don't mind me talking about them. They're an urgent care facility in St. Louis. They have 6 or 7 facilities. They are constantly bringing on new facilities. And they tell me every time I talk to them, this is the single best thing we have ever done to generate new business. We cannot believe how it's enhancing our reputation and how many people are saying we heard about you through Google. They have 600 plus Google reviews for one of their places, over 100 5-star Yelp reviews. Their other offices, which are newer, have 300 Google reviews, 200 Google reviews. They're using the system properly. Dr. Tajumide St. Matthew Daniel in Orlando, she was using Demand Force, called me and said, Bob, you know, look, we have thousands of Demand Force reviews. It's doing nothing. Can you help us? She took on the program, used it exactly as needed to. She's up to, I don't know, 125 5-star Google reviews. And as I mentioned, there's over 700 dentists in Orlando. She's nowhere near the city center, which, as you know, Justin, is a huge and very important factor, one of the most important. But Google has seen that they are so relevant. And one of those factors is the reviews, that they have expanded the map of Orlando to include her. And then if you click on more, we have another dentist who's like in the 5th or 6th position with 50 or 65 star reviews. She's even further from downtown Orlando. But because of their reviews, Google has seen both of these guys so valuable. Now, all about beautiful smiles, when I talked to St. Matthew Daniels, Dr. St. Matthew Daniels, she said she's getting something like 10 calls a day based on her Google ranking, and 5 of those people are converted to customers every day. I don't even know how that's possible. Now, this isn't, you know, at the top of Rolla, Missouri, for goodness sakes. It's Orlando, Florida. So when you dominate your community, just good things happen. So every week I can tell you a new success story. I just found out the highest rated orthodontist and the highest rated pediatric dentist in the state of Illinois uses our system. And I'm sure that's true in most of the states. I just haven't had a chance to look. And the thing is, we don't want people breaking the rules. It's against the law and it's against all the terms of service to reward someone for writing a review. And the thing is, how would you feel about me if I said, hey, I'll give you $20, Justin, if you write a review for me? Are you kidding me? That's horrible. And it's against the law, but you don't need to do that. When you provide great service and you ask in a proper way, you can massively outperform people getting reviews than people who are paying people to write reviews. So anyway, man, I could go on and on about this all day, but every week there's somebody new that surges to the top. They're doing some amazing things. And the other benefit of sitting in my chair, for example, we send out as many review requests in a week as most dental practices will send out in their entire existence. So we can see trends so quickly that they will never see. And when we see those, we always try to share that with our customers. Do this, do that, try this, try that, and they get just great results. So anyway, thank you.
That's excellent. It kind of goes in the kind of the theme of this show is that we should all try to test what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
That today it's SEO, but tomorrow maybe it's something else. Yep. Or maybe the way that SEO is being done needs to be changed. And I really appreciate that. And that's why you're a guest on this show, is because you get that. You understand, as our viewers do, that it really is about doing what works. And that isn't always the same for every dental practice.
That's right.
But I do also appreciate the other side, which is, hey, here's a proven model. When you ask this way, these are 7 psychological triggers that we've broken down into basically a science. And if you do it the right way, if you're the right dentist to take on this task, then you're going to do it. You're going to do it really well.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. So adaptation, in a word. And it sounds like because of your data, you're able to do that really well. Well, I think this has been really a successful interview for our viewers.
Well, thank you.
I just want to plug them into what you're doing, all the data that you have, your wealth of experience, the adaptations that you've made, your constant, continual dedication to improving your business and yourself. I think that's going to rub off on the dentists watching this show. And man, just let's talk about where they can find you, where they can tie into your success so that they can grow their practice.
Well, thank you. So the other thing I want to note is we don't have any long-term commitments. We work on karma. And what I mean by that is if you don't use the system properly and you're not getting the results everybody else does, just call us and go, Bob, look, I don't want to pay for the system anymore. That's it. We stop. We don't do that. And by the way, that causes us to make sure we're doing everything we can to help you do what you need to do. So if this interview catches your fancy, I encourage you to go to 5starreviewsystem.com. There's a video that says how it works. You can watch how it works. If you like what you see there, I encourage you to call us. We're in Hawaii, so it's generally going to be earlier here than it is where you are. But the good news is we're here till 10 o'clock at night, so that's all good. And then let's have a conversation. Let's figure out if it is a good fit, because I don't want you thinking it is when maybe it's not. And I don't want me thinking it is when maybe it's not either. If you like that, then we'll set the system up for you in demo mode. It's full working demo mode. You can see it work with the text and emails and the coupons and flyers. And at that point, if you want to invest in it, then do so. We have 2 different price points. The least expensive one is our premium service. It's $99 a month. There's a $99 setup fee. And Justin, as I was mentioning, any one of your listeners that tells us they heard about the system through you, just mention Justin's name. And Justin, I think we even sent you a 4-digit code, did we not?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we 6354 is our code. If you are a listener of the Dental Marketing Guy show and you heard about this system, 6354, that's the number that you can enter as a promo code. And
Great.
what do they get for that?
So, and when you do, instead of paying the $99 setup startup training fee, and by the way, the training is a 50-minute full-on onboarding program with you and your staff. Instead of paying $99 for that, we take $50 off. So it's only a $49 setup fee if you put that code in. So that's the thing to do. And that's what I'd encourage you to do. You know, the thing is, do you need to do this? Well, I would encourage you to do a search for your business. Do a search for dentists, not your business, a search for dentists in your community. You know, there's all kinds of different things that show up. Reviews help you in local search. Justin, you help people with local search. You also help people organically move up. You help them with Google AdWords, I'm assuming as well, correct?
Yes.
So you help people with all of these different things. Look and see where you are. If you're not showing up when someone does a search for a dentist in your community, then I promise you, either Justin or myself can help you. I can help you with the reviews. Justin can help you with everything else. If you see your competition has a better reputation, more reviews, they're higher in the search engines, I promise you, you need our help. And getting reviews is the low-hanging fruit. It is the least expensive, most effective way to help yourself move up and get new business. But yeah, give us a call. You'll find us on 5starreviewsystem.com. Put in that code, match, we'll help you get started. And maybe you can be the new record breaker. You can get more than 45 Google reviews in a month. That would be awesome.
Excellent. That code, once again, is 6354. And wow, Maui Bob, I thank you very much. It's been a huge honor. I think we got some really beneficial information. And hopefully our listeners understand how reviews work, how it ties into SEO, how it ties into the conversion rate, case acceptance rates. Everything is tied into reviews in one way or another. I'll tell you, we can get you ranked, but if you don't have those reviews, it can be tougher to make them pick up the phone and call. Let's get those reviews going. Once again, that code is 6354 for $50 off to start off that first month. Maui Bob, let me tell you, let's let you take it away here.
Well, I'll just wrap it up and say thanks a million. I really appreciate, Justin, you taking the time to let me do this. And for all of you that are listening, honest to goodness, I wish you the best. Know that when you ask a patient to write a review, they want to do it for you. They really do. And then just do what you can to make it as easy as possible for them to write a review. It is rewarding. It is, believe me, it is just as rewarding for them to write a review for you as it is for you to see that review. And the last thing I would say is when you do get a review, and you will, don't let it slide. Please thank your patient for writing a review. And I tell you, it will mean more to them than you can ever imagine. Justin, thanks a million.
Thank you, Maui Bob. You've been listening to the Dental Marketing Guy show, dentalmarketingguy.com. I'm Justin Morgan, the Dental Marketing Guy. Till next time. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Justin.